BingX, a trusted global crypto exchange. Trade spot, futures, or copy top traders easily. Sign up via the link or referral code to get 30 USDT instantly, plus up to 1,500 USDT in bonuses for verification, deposit, and trading.
India's ambitious digital identity system, Aadhaar, a ubiquitous biometric ID intended for every citizen, has become deeply embedded in daily life, marking a stark contrast to the pre-digital era. Introduced just 15 years ago, Aadhaar is now a prerequisite for a vast array of essential activities, from purchasing property and securing employment to opening bank accounts, paying taxes, receiving government benefits, acquiring vehicles, obtaining mobile phone connections, booking priority train tickets, and enrolling children in schools. Even newborns can be assigned an Aadhaar number shortly after birth. While not legally mandatory, digital rights advocates assert that lacking an Aadhaar effectively renders an individual invisible to the state, a sentiment echoed by many who have experienced its transformative impact. Umesh Patel, a 47-year-old textile business owner from Ahmedabad, describes Aadhaar as a source of immense relief, recalling the arduous days of presenting stacks of paper to government offices simply to establish his identity, a process often plagued by confusion. Today, he explains, a simple Aadhaar verification streamlines all interactions, representing a powerful example of how technology is being leveraged for the benefit of citizens. Patel highlights the system's robustness and its role in simplifying life, while also emphasizing its contribution to national security by mitigating the creation of fraudulent documents. He concludes that Aadhaar has transcended its original purpose to become an integral part of Indian identity. The perceived success of this scheme has even drawn the attention of the UK government, which is reportedly studying India's digital ID model as it considers introducing its own mandatory identification cards. However, this narrative of success is not universally shared. Digital rights organizations, activists, and humanitarian groups present a more nuanced and concerning picture of Aadhaar's implications for Indian society. For the country's most impoverished and least educated citizens, those who lack the literacy, formal documentation, or educational background to obtain an Aadhaar, the system has proven to be a significant barrier, leading to exclusion and penalization. The inability to access Aadhaar can result in the denial of crucial welfare benefits and employment opportunities for those who need them the most. With growing proposals to link Aadhaar to voting rights and proof of citizenship, fears are mounting that it could become a tool to further disenfranchise and marginalize the poor. Apar Gupta, the founder and director of the Delhi-based Internet Freedom Foundation, characterizes Aadhaar for many Indians as a form of digital coercion. He explains that individuals face constant demands for Aadhaar-based authentication whenever they need to access government services, enter public spaces, or simply navigate their daily lives. Gupta observes that since its inception, Aadhaar has metastasized, evolving into an ever-expanding bureaucratic labyrinth of unique identifiers required for people to conduct even basic transactions. He poignantly states that your very basis to live is checked at each and every step. Critics also raise serious concerns about the adequacy of India's proposed data protection and privacy legislation, which remains in draft form. They argue that the current framework is insufficient to safeguard the privacy of the highly sensitive Aadhaar database, which encompasses biometric data including photographs, face scans, iris scans, and fingerprints of over 1 billion Indians, and to prevent its potential misuse. The Indian media has previously exposed numerous data breaches related to Aadhaar, most notably in 2018, when details from the Aadhaar database of 1 billion Indians were found to be available for purchase online for a mere 500 rupees. Gupta notes that under the yet-to-be-enforced law, there is no clear mechanism for reporting or investigating data breaches, nor is there adequate oversight regarding how Aadhaar data might be consolidated with other databases, potentially enabling widespread tracking and surveillance of citizens. He emphasizes a complete lack of transparency in the system. Although Aadhaar was introduced prior to Prime Minister Narendra Modi's ascent to power in 2014, his ruling Bharatiya Janata Party, BJP, has enthusiastically adopted and expanded the digital ID scheme. During India's G20 presidency in 2023, Prime Minister Modi lauded Aadhaar as a cornerstone of a digital India, positioning it as an incubator of innovation and claiming it has saved the nation over $22 billion by eradicating corruption within welfare programs. The government frequently cites the widespread adoption of Aadhaar as evidence of its success and universality. As of last month, over 1.42 billion Aadhaar numbers had been generated, a figure closely mirroring India's total population, solidifying its status as the world's largest digital identity program by a significant margin. Prior to the scheme's implementation, an estimated 400 million Indians lacked any official form of identification and were consequently excluded from formal financial systems. However, the reality on the ground, particularly in rural and tribal communities, paints a different picture than the one presented by the government in Delhi. Chakradhar Buddha, a senior researcher at LibTech India, an organization supporting those marginalized by India's digital initiatives, reports that individuals in tribal, hilly, or remote regions are frequently unable to obtain Aadhaar numbers, and this issue occurs on a scale that often goes unacknowledged. He attributes these challenges to a lack of proper documentation, discrepancies in existing documents, and the constant evolution of technology, which creates additional hurdles that disproportionately affect the most vulnerable. Buddha contends that this system ultimately hinders access to essential social security and welfare for those who depend on it most. Buddha also questions the government's assertion of Aadhaar as an infallible identity verification tool. He has documented numerous instances where officials have recorded incorrect names or personal details, leading to greater difficulties for communities. In one village, where tribal residents lacked birth certificates, they were all assigned January 1st as their birth date. Furthermore, tribal names are often misspelled on Aadhaar cards due to officials' unfamiliarity with them. Buddha warns that using Aadhaar as a universal criterion for voting rights could result in the mass expulsion of the poorest from the electoral register. He cites a recent case where millions of India's poorest workers were erroneously removed from a government system, cutting off their livelihoods, after an Aadhaar verification process was enforced. He argues that these individuals, already deprived